President Joe Biden is expected to unveil part of his massive infrastructure program tomorrow. The first part will reportedly focus on infrastructure and jobs, the second on child care and health care programs. But the president is facing pushback on how to pay for his sweeping spending plan. Joining us now to talk about the proposal are Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, a Democrat from Evanston, Congressman Rodney Davis, a Republican from Taylorville, and Congressman Jesus Chuy Garcia, a Democrat from the Little Village neighborhood. Welcome all of you back to Chicago tonight. Congresswoman Schakowsky, reported to be $2.25 trillion here for roads, bridges, mass transit, ports, and other elements of infrastructure. What do you know about the specifics of the plan, and what are the needs and the asks from House Democrats?
Well, it's about jobs. It's about infrastructure that we need so badly. Talking about we're talking about our transit. We're talking about bridges. We're talking about roads. We're talking about actually building hospitals and repairing them and schools. It's all about the things that really create good jobs for the people in our community. And all over the country. It's very exciting. We're talking about literally millions of jobs, and they're well-paying jobs, hopefully union jobs, and green jobs, so that we're also going to be helping the environment.
Congressman Davis, you met with the Biden administration about infrastructure a few months back. Does this sound like the contours of a plan that you would support or Republicans would support?
You know, Jan is right. Chuy and Jan and I, we agree we've got to rebuild our crumbling roads and bridges. And that's the message I took to President Biden, Vice President Harris, and also Secretary Buttigieg just a few weeks ago in the Oval Office. And we pleaded with the president, please do not use the reconciliation process. Please work with us on an infrastructure bill. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. That's unfortunate because we do need to put the men and women of this country in the state of Illinois back to work, continuing to rebuild our crumbling roads and bridges. Infrastructure does matter. Infrastructure is bipartisan. But if the Democrats and the administration try to push through a climate change Green New Deal bill, they're not going to get the infrastructure bill that we so much need, because it will only be a climate bill disguised with an infrastructure title.
Congressman Garcia, is that the case? Is this a Green New Deal or climate bill, and would something like that dash the hopes for any bipartisan buy-in?
Look, infrastructure has been crying out for many years for an investment. Our leading engineers have given us a C- in this regard. And we shouldn't forget that transportation and infrastructure is also a matter of racial and socioeconomic justice. For decades, Latino, Black, and other marginalized communities have suffered from segregation, gentrification, and have been separated by things like train tracks and highways. America has a crumbling, failing infrastructure. We need to do the right thing. I've encouraged the White House to go big and bold. I've encouraged Secretary Buttigieg as well at a hearing in our committee that both Congressman Davis and I serve on, transportation and infrastructure, to also go big. I think it's going to address the real needs of our economy. It will make it sustainable. Yes, it will have a lot of green features. It has to. We've got to deal with climate change. And yes, it will be a challenge to figure out the revenues, but I think that we can do it, starting with doing away with the tax breaks that the rich got in 2017. That could be a down payment on an infrastructure.
All right, well, let's hear what Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said on that very subject of revenue. First of all, he said there would be no gas or mileage tax. Take a look.
You're going to hear more details from the administration in the coming days about how to pay for this. But one thing I will do is reiterate the president's commitment that his proposals will not raise taxes at all on anyone making under $400,000 a year.
Congressman, I want to go back to you on how to pay for a big bill like this. As Congressman Garcia mentioned, the president reportedly will float doing away with some of those tax cuts in 2017, raising that corporate income tax rate from 21% to a reported 28%. Is that something that should be a part of this bill?
It may be a part of this bill. I want to tell you that until the Trump administration, the infrastructure bills were always bipartisan, and I'm I'm hoping, along with Rodney, that we're going to be able to work on both sides of the aisle, because everybody wants to bring the jobs to their community that go with this infrastructure. Now, in terms of the pay fors, I would welcome saying to the people who got the richest people who got the tax cuts, or maybe even some of the military budget. There's places that we could cut. But I think the important thing is that it's going to accelerate the economy. Putting all these people to work is going to be good for our economy. So it's unclear, you say it's a $3 trillion package. How much money is going to be generated from the millions of jobs that are created? A lot.
Congressman Davis, should there be a hike in taxes on higher incomes or on that corporate rate from 21 to 28% to pay for this?
Chuy mentioned we serve on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee together. I've been on that committee since I got to Congress, just like Chuy. And I came to deal with infrastructure issues. And if you would have told me that the Democratic majority and the new administration wanted to open up the income tax code at the end of a pandemic to pay for infrastructure without talking about any other pay-fors, typical user fees that have been paying the Highway Trust Fund for decades, I would have said that's a fantasy. But here we are today. And really, I think this is just a decision made by the White House and by Democratic leadership to go back on the tax cuts that gave us the high economic growth that we had before the pandemic. And I will tell you, the last thing we need to see in this country is an infrastructure bill that we desperately need, but at the same time, raising taxes on every single American. The Democrats can say all they want that it's only going to be the wealthy. They actually want to implement provisions that we took out that only benefit the wealthy. Some are using that as a reason to say they're not going to vote for a bill unless they implement that provision that only benefits the wealthy. So it's a reason why I get frustrated. Because if we're going to tax our small businesses and our C Corps when they're coming out of a pandemic, that's going to be passed on to every American. And that is not what we need to be doing at the end of a pandemic. Let's do infrastructure, but let's let our small businesses survive still.
Congressman Garcia, I want to get to some of the other aspects of the proposal. Renovating schools, child care centers, community colleges. Does that mean there might be free community college or dramatically reduced community college costs?
Well, there are a lot of things that are in the mix, and as a member of the Progressive Caucus, those are issues that are near and dear to me and that we are advocating for. That's possible, but I also want to underscore that, money to rebuild and build schools, investment in rural and urban broadband to close the technology gap for kids, electric grid repair, clean water infrastructure for drinking water and wastewater management, and possibly up to $300 billion for housing infrastructure as well. It's going to be tough to be against those things and tell the American people that the country doesn't need those things. You've got to get beyond, acquiescing to Donald Trump and, closing ranks because you think you got a shot at winning back the Senate and a majority in the House in 2022. You have to put the national interest forward, and I'm not sure that that's what the Republicans are open to doing any longer.
All right, well, I'm sure it'll be a ferocious debate starting tomorrow when this is unveiled, and we'll be joined again later in this program by Congress members to discuss voting rights, gun safety, and immigration. But for now, our thanks to Representatives Jan Schakowsky, Rodney Davis, and Jesus Chuy Garcia. Thank you so much.